Everyone, and welcome back to Java Lessons on Codecademy. Well, this is going to be the last lesson of Java, but in the next videos of programming we will be doing JavaScript, so stay tuned for that. But let's start. So last time we looked at array lists and a bit of for loops. Today we'll be concentrating more on the for loops and then finishing off just what we have done so far. So let's get started. Since most of the loops are very similar, Java provides a shortcut to reduce the amount of code required to write the loop called the for each loop. Here is an example of the concise for each loop. So you say, instead of saying for integer whatever while I smaller than whatever, then increase whatever it is, you just say for integer called grade in the list quiz grades. This is slightly more similar to what you might see in Python. So let's see what we need to do. The current block of code in the code editor is incomplete. Finish the for each loop by typing that. So in the brackets, in the parentheses, what you do is specify the type of iterator that you want. In this case, we want it to be an integer and we want it to be called temperature. Then you have a colon and you say which array list you want to go through. In this case, our array list, if I can talk today, is called weekly temperatures. And then we just print out each temperature because oops, I misspelled temperature. And because temperature is just an index, we print out or no. Oh, this works differently. So it's not the index. It literally just goes through that and we just say print it out. Or, okay, what have I done wrong? I will just copy this and paste it into here because I've probably just misspelled something. And there we go. So what this actually does is goes through this list and assigns each value of that list to temperature, and then we just print it out. So this is really similar to Python at this level. So let's move on. Great, another useful built-in data structure in Java is the HashMap. Although the name of the data structure might not make sense to you immediately, I think of it as a real-life dictionary. So think of it as Python's dictionary. It works really similarly. A dictionary contains a set of words and a definition for each word. A hash map contains a set of keys and a value for each key. If we look up a word in a dictionary, we can get the definition. If you provide a hash map with a key that exists, you can retrieve the value associated with the key. Declaring a hash map is shown in the following example. So if you guys don't know what a dictionary is, I highly recommend you check out the Python lesson about dictionaries that I have made. So how you make a hash map is similar to how you would make an array list. By that, you specify what you're making, so in this case a hash map, and then you say which two things you want it to contain. So you want string to be the element and you want integer to be the key, and then you specify the name that you want to give to that specific hash map, and you make it equal to a new hash map basically. So then what we need to do is create a hash map object called restaurant menu. So let's do that. How we do that now is say hash map, then in those brackets, whatever they are called, we put we want it to be a string and an integer. So I believe it's separated by a comma. Yes, it is. And then we want to call it restaurant menu. So let's do that. Hopefully I spelled that correctly, but in case I didn't, I will just copy and paste it and then make it new and the name that whole thing again with parentheses and a semicolon. So let's see what happens now. Good. So nothing gets printed out because we didn't specify it to do so, but it's correct. So we can move on. Perfect. Now let's fill the hash map with useful data. Add keys and values to the hash map. So how you add keys and values is similarly to how you would do it in an array list, but instead of adding just one thing, you add two things because you're adding keys and values. So let's do that now. Let's add some food items and prices to our menu. Use the put method to add a key turkey burger with the value 13. So instead of add, it's actually put, but that doesn't change much because it's used kind of similarly. So how we do that, we give it the name of the hash map. Oops, the name of our hash map isn't hash map, it's restaurant menu, which I will just copy and paste because I might not spell it out correctly. And then we do .put, and in the parentheses we specify what we want to put. And now I will actually just copy and paste this 3 times because from what I can see that's what we will need to do. And in the string we need to add turkey burger with a space in between, and it needs to have the key 13. Then if we run it, we will get an error because we have those two as empty things. And we need naan pizza, however you pronounce that, I have no idea, with value of 11. And finally cranberry kale salad with the value of 10, which I will copy out. Here we go, come on, there we go, and value 10. And if we run it, everything should be fine. And nothing is printed out because again we haven't specified anything to be printed out. So to access data in an array list, we specify the index. In order to access a value in a hash map, we specify the key. So the key in our case is the string, and the value, or whatever you want to call it, is the integer or the number. So in the example we say get whatever is at the key of Zenas or Zenas, I don't know how you pronounce that. And what would be printed out to the console in that case is 21, because Zenas is the key to 21. So let's see what we need to do. Use the get method to print out the price of the naan pizza item. So we just need to copy this thing because I can't remember it, and last time I tried to type it out, instead of the L I put an N. So let's not make the same mistake again. And we get the name of our hash map, and we do .get and whatever the key is. So in our case the key is naan pizza, and what should be printed out is 11. If that's not printed out, then it's incorrect, but we get 11 because the key to 11 is naan pizza. So if you put in naan pizza, you get 11, basically. That's how a hash map works, and a dictionary. So let's move on. We can also access properties of a hash map, such as the number of entries or the contents of the hash map. Let's access the length and print out the contents of the my friends. So how you access the size or the length of my friends is just the same as an array list. You do .size with parentheses. How you print out the contents is similarly to Python. You just use a for loop to go through it. So let's see what our tasks require us to do. Complete the unfinished code statement on line 12, which is this, to print out the size of restaurant menu. So how we do that, as I said before, is just size dot size with parentheses. So if we run this, everything should work fine. Good. So uncomment the comment between line 13 and line 19. So let's do that. And here we go. Next, complete the for each loop by typing that. So I will copy it, but I will also explain it. So what we say, make a string called item, and make that string the value of each value in the list called restaurant menu, or the keys in that dictionary of restaurant menu. And then if we run it, each time the item gets changed into a new thing, this is ran. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. What is ran is this, and what gets printed out is, for each value you get a whatever item is, costs whatever the index or the key of that item is in that case, so 13 and then dollars. The same thing happens with a cranberry kale salad. So you have a item, in this case is cranberry kale salad, costs, then you get the key is cranberry kale salad, what you're given by get is 10, and you also get dollars at the end. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, feel free to ask in the comments down below and I will do my best to explain it. So let's move on. Great work. So what did we learn so far? We learned how to use for loops to run a block of code repeatedly. For each loops, a concise version of a for loop, closer to that you would find in a Python program. ArrayList stores a list of data, and the HashMap stores keys and associated values like a dictionary. So let's see what our task requires us to do. The very last task, and then we get a badge for completing the whole course. Woo! Inside of the main method and before the for each loop, create an array list called sports that stores string types. So how we do that is make an array list, and then we specify what it needs to be, and in this case it's going to be string, and we need to call it sports, and then equals new array list strings parentheses and the semicolon. There we go, and I will delete that because it's bugging me, and let's see if that's correct. Hopefully it is. Yes, it is. So now what we need to do is to that list or array list add football, which is easy to do because we've learned how to do it and we can do it. And we need a semicolon, which I need to remember. There we go. Now we need to add boxing to the same array list. So we'll just copy that line and then do boxing. There we go. Good. The first for each loop in the code editor is missing the code that should be run. Inside of the for each loop, type that. So let's see what this for each loop is actually going to do. So we say string sport in sports. So this is going to go through each value in sports, and then what this line of code does is prints it out after each time it's gone through it. So if we run it, what should be printed out is football and boxing, because those are the two things which we have added onto that list. The only two things. And then we need to uncomment the incomplete for each loop towards the bottom and complete the loop by typing that. So towards the bottom we have this, and now we have this whole section of code which just makes a hash map and adds keys of whatever of cities, and I don't know what that is supposed to represent, but yeah, it adds keys and numbers. And then what we need to do is to this for loop we need to make a for each loop which goes through each value of the key set in major cities. So if we run it, we can see, oh, that's in when it was founded. So New York was founded in 1624, and because we go string city in major cities.keyset, the key, it goes through the keys. So our first key is New York. So what gets printed out is city. So New York was founded in what that key unlocks. So in this case it unlocks the value 1624. And then we get the next key, which is London, was founded in 43. Mexico City was founded in 1521. And Sao Paulo, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, sorry, was founded in 1554. So yeah, so in the next programming playlist that I will be making is going to be about JavaScript, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I actually did enjoy this course, but I preferred the Python course because it was much longer and I felt like we learned more things successively, and I just felt like it was better because it was longer and we learned a lot more things. So yeah, so stay tuned for the JavaScript lessons. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, then please click the like button. If you didn't like it, please click the dislike button, and please tell me in the comments down below why you didn't like the video. If you have any questions, please do ask in the comments down below. I will be looking at them, answering them as soon as I can. So until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.